And welcome back. Today I'm on EndNote 8. I want to give you the basics to get you up and running quickly, just the fundamentals. So let's get straight down to it. With EndNote, it's a great bit of software to store all your research and sources, so that way you can cite your work later with it within Word. Adds a plugin into Word to enable you to do that. Also, you can sync all your references online with the configure sync option. So I want to get straight down to it, starting from left to right. So top left hand corner, hover over in your local library mode. This is where you store and create groups or folders to store your research and sources in. Next is where you do an online search. So you've got an online search. So for example, you might want to look through Library of Congress or Rockefeller or even PubMed, and that way it will search online for journals and the criteria you type in. If you don't see what you want there, you select more, and then you can add even more search options there. For example, e-journals, click choose, and that will add it to the left here, as you can see. But as I want to show you this, bear in mind you have to sign up for some of them. So that way you can go to a link online, sign up, and that way you can access them by using user ID and passwords, and then import all your sources into EndNote and have them all stored. The third option integrates the first option, local library, and the second option, search, so you can see both there, which I like to work in. Actually, I'll show you how to create groups in a minute. The next option is your reference style you're going to use. There is more than that. You could select another style and then look for your style there, or type in the style you're looking for here. Type here, or select find by, and depending on what you're studying, you can use that option here to try and find you your reference style you might be using. And you can select style info preview to give you a preview of that style. Now these options I'll show you in a minute once we do a search, because that's an online search what we're doing anyway, which I've showed you just now. And we can import and export your references if you want, and this will even find full text. So for example, if you found a source but need to find a PDF for it, the original source, that will look for it for you. It doesn't always find it, depends if there's a DOI number, because remember some PDFs are just scanned off and they've got no identifiers on them, so do bear that in mind. That will look for the original website it come from, be it PubMed or whatever link. And these options for when we start citing in Word. And these three options for syncing. If I come back to here and select configure sync, you've got an option there when you first start up EndNote 8 where you can create an online server. All your sources and research will be then uploaded to a server. That way you can access them from anywhere, or even use that option when we come back up here to share them. So another powerful option. Now because I've already got a library, I'm going to click no. I'm going to show you what to do. Click file. Before you can even start using EndNote, you need to create a library. So if I go to desktop, I've got one already. I've just called it Spuddy. But you might want to create one, for example, depending on what you're doing. So any research you then will be synced, they'll be added to that library. Because you might have different libraries. You might have a medical library, history library, and that way you can open up depending on what you're doing. But you can only have one library open at a time, so please bear that in mind. So I'm going to use the one I've got already, and let's make a start. Before we can do anything, I'm going to go back to the local library. We've got groups. You need to create, look at it as folders and subfolders. So you need to create a folder, could be medical, and subfolders could be cardiovascular or anatomy. So you need to separate that so you can put your sources in there. So what I'm going to do is click on my groups. Now I can right click and create a group, but I want to create a group set, so let me show you. So I'm going to call this, let's call that medical study, and click the enter key. I'll click back on it. I can right click, I can create a group under that, so that will be your modules or what you're studying. You can do it up here as well. Look, if I select create group, I'm going to call that, say it's the eye is one, and you might want another one under there, group, create group, and the next one could be human brain. And there we go. We've got subfolders now that we can then add information into. But if I come back up to groups, there's another option in there really powerful called create smart group. Now that will filter what you're looking for automatically. So say you're looking for the human brain, but you want a specific year on the human brain and maybe a certain part or lobe of the brain you need to look for. So you can put that information in the search criteria at the top here, and it will filter that out into a new one here called smart group with everything that fits that criteria. Let me show you. Let's do the eye for example. So I want to come up to group and create a smart group. So I need to give it a name first so I can identify it. So it's going to be something to do with the eye, isn't it? So I'm just going to call it filter. Now I can filter out be it the author, year, title. I'm going to do title. So everything I search for with the eye, and in the title it's got eye. Now I can choose and also filter out or look for, or so it could be title or year, so it'll either give me one or the other, or I could put and, so it's got to have the title in and say the year 2000. So you can choose the criteria, and you can even come down here and add more, the drop down menu, so you can find exactly what you're looking for, so you can filter out your search. So I could also select PDF and click create. So you see where my filter is now? So when I do a search, it's going to filter out anything that matches that criteria. If it doesn't find anything, then it won't automatically add it. There's my folders. Now I'm ready to do a bit of research. Now come up to the research option, or remember what I said, integrated. So you can see your folders at the top here, and you can see online search. So it's medical. I'm going to go for PubMed, and I need to choose what I'm looking for again, searching for. So I'm going to do title, everything with I in it, and I could do year, or I could do a general search that will give me multiple years, and then what it will do out with my smart group, it will then filter out only titles with I in it and the year 2000 if I want. So use that, it's a really powerful option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put year anyway, 2000, and I'm going to do a search. It's found 922, that would do nicely. You can limit that if you want by clicking on it, but I'm going to do full 922. Depending on the speed of your internet, bottom left hand corner it shows you it all filtering through for the search. Now you can see to the left there everything's gone into the eye filter because I've covered all the criteria. But if I never, let me stop cancel. So I didn't put specific year in, so if I come out of there and click search, I don't even go through 58,000. I'm just going to do 300. I've got an option, I can clear currently displayed results before retrieving records. Click OK, which I want to do. So again you can see it searching through PubMed, and it finds any additional information. It automatically goes to the eye field to follow that criteria of the year and the title. Once you've done that, go through your journals and you'll look at them. Now if I click on them here, come to the right. This is your PDF viewer and reference viewer. So I select reference. There's all the referencing for that journal. And I know it's a journal, it says it here, journal or article. Shows when it was last updated, which is today, and the year to the left. Now I can preview that by selecting this option, and it'll give me a preview of the reference here. If I come to the top left, I can change it to Harvard, see it change, or humanities, which is footnoting. So that way you can see how it will look. So if I go to APA, you can see how that reference style will look. Quick point in that, I'm going to say, if it's not correct, for example the title, they're not giving you the full title, there's a little option you can do that will fix that issue. I'll show you now as we're in journals, but let me do a little bit more before we go into that. Any attached PDFs then it will show you there, but in this case there's no attached PDFs. Now if you want to look for any of the actual journals PDFs for these articles, I'm going to hold shift and highlight a few there, and we've got an option here that says find full text. This will search the web for the full text documents, be it online or as a PDF attachment, and do it automatically for you. So I'm going to select that button, or you can right click and select it there with find full text and left click. Bottom left hand corner you can see it's starting to search. So far it's found 3 PDFs and it's still searching, and you can see them automatically coming up on the right. It won't find them all, it should find a few. And there we go, it's found 7 PDFs and it's found 8 links to a website you can access. So if I click on 8, there's the 8 it's found to a website that I can access. Now if I come up the top here, so I'm going to highlight smoking in the eyes and select the option there, and it should take me to that website automatically. And there you go, There's the original link it come from. But we know it come from PubMed anyway, but you can get the abstract there and then the information you need. Really great option. Also, it found some PDFs, didn't it? So again, you see the paper clips, that indicates it's found in attachments. They're the journal article, so if I click on it, to the right comes up. Click again, to the right, the journals come up to the right. So I might go, actually, I'm going to hold the shift button, highlight them all. I'm going to hold the left button, I'm going to drag them into my iGroup folder there, store them there. And then we might go back to the where it's found the original links to the websites. Again, highlight them all, and I'm going to drag that into my folder as well. And that way I'm starting to store up my research and sources. I'm going to click on the first one. Let's come to the right, that's the PDF. Now this is a PDF reader. Now I might want to add notes, I want to highlight information, not a problem. It's a bit squash, you can hold the left button and drag it in and out if you want. Or come down to the right and select layout, change the layout you want. But I want to expand that, so I'm going to click on the PDF and select this little option here, open PDF. Now I can view it in full screen. Now I can use my options better at the top. First one, you can save it. You might want to save that once you've highlighted or added notes. Print it or even email it. There's 8 pages, so I can go through, cycle through them all. I can also zoom in and out option there, or choose a specific zoom I want to zoom in and out with. Also I can rotate it, so there might be an image or diagram you need to look at, and there might be something you want to highlight. So I'm going to highlight just that, for example, and you might want to add a little note. Left click, tap it, and a note comes up, and you can add a note, and you can add a note concerning that information you've highlighted, and close it. If you want it, just double tap it, comes up there, you can access the information you've added. Also, if I scroll down, you might want to highlight specific information you want to work with, so I'm just going to highlight that information and select the highlight option there. Tap off it and you can see it's highlighted. Highlight what you want and select it there. Also, you might want to underline specific words, maybe you're not sure about, you need to check the dictionary. Use the underline option there. Just double tap in the middle of the word, underline, or even you might want to strike through it as well, which you've got the option there. Also, you might want to search for keywords or specific information within that journal. So I'm just going to type in scan, see what we get. Got 2 arrows here, one find previous. We want to click next because we haven't found one yet, so it's highlighted it. Click next and it will jump through the whole journal to that specific word. So if you're looking for something specific, you can jump through quickly and find the information you're looking for. And that's when, if I scroll back up, you can choose whether or not you want to save it, the save option, and it will save with the changes that you see. I'm going to close that. So another great option there you can use. Now let's have a look at our window on the left at the moment. So all the references I've found so far, 740, they've all been recently added. Unfiled 285, so that means if we come down, I've filed 440, 455 so far filed. Unfiled I've not used 285, so that's what that's telling you, and I've got nothing in trash. So let's do an internal search. Now I'm just going to click on the journal here and select preview. There's my Harvard. If I select, for example, APA. Now if it's not quite looking right, your reference style, it's just the way that the journal has been imported. It's not a problem. Follow these steps. Go to Tools, come down and select Open Term List and select Journal Term Lists. Once it's open, I'm going to maximise that, hold the left button. Let's have a look what we've got here. So if it's not referencing it correctly and not doing the title full, I'll give them the correct format. I want you to highlight them all, Control A, and select Delete Term. That way you're not deleting your journals or anything. Now select List and select Import List. Make sure it's on journals. Now choose whatever matches what you're studying. So this is medical, so I select medical and let it update term list. Tells you how many it's done, click OK. So I'm going to click term. It should then put them in the correct format for you. Now I've already done that in the past, but if you have any issues, do that option and it correctly format with the information you need better in your reference. How about online search? Let's give it a go. So I'm going to open up the internet And let's say doing a bit of research online. I'll go to JSTOR as an example. There's WorldCat, there's quite a lot out there. And I'm going to log in. I think I've got an account from ages ago. Right, I can do advanced search, but I won't go into the website. I just want to show you how to gather information off the internet. So let's type in something to do with, I suppose, eyes. Click the enter key. And because I've signed in now, I can access download PDFs here as well. Can you see? It's a free account, so it's worth signing up for. Now, if you haven't got EndNote, what you probably do is download the PDF by clicking on it. And once you've downloaded it, you'll then get the reference for it. For example, click Cite this item, and then it gives you the citations that you can copy and paste using this option. Now that's hard work, and you're kind of limited. Look, MLA, Psychology or Chicago. And copy and pasting is not really organised. You've got to put them in the correct order, especially if it's Harvard. So what I want you to do, say tick the references you might want. I'll go through a few there. And then come up to the top. And you see it says open access. I can access them. Export with selected citations. Click it. Now I want to export these citations to EndNote, which is an RIS file. Click on it. Bottom left hand corner grabs them for you. So if I click this option, it will automatically go into EndNote Watch. Import it automatically, and it opens. If I come up here, you've got a new little option that says imported references, and there you go, it's found 4 for me. And the book section. Now if I click the references option, and there they are. But you see it hasn't attached the PDF and found it, but that's not a problem. As I said, you can open it up, download the PDF to organised folder, click download. I should just call that eyes. I'm going to save that to my desktop. Open up EndNote, and then I can use the attachment button to the reference. Scroll down and select it, and there it is. So I've got a reference and the attachment. It automatically saves it. By the way, if you set up your configure synchronization, click on there. You can click on it and choose to sync, but it syncs anyway when you close it. So you can choose that option. I'll use this option up here to automatically sync. So there you go, great option for websites as well. Now it automatically imports it and finds the source. But say you go to a website and it doesn't. If you come across anything that it won't automatically find the sources for, not a problem. Come up to References tab and select New References. Choose the type of source here. So it's a web page, and then fill in the criteria you need there. Now, I can't show you how to fill that in because Harvard's different to APA, Law Scholar's different to Chicago. So you need to check how they want that referenced and what sources are required. So bear that in mind. And then you just fill in the information here. So remember, I've still imported references. So you could look at those references in no man's land. Highlight what you want. And then again, right click. And you can add references to whatever folder you want. Or if you prefer, drag them. Hold the left button, and I'm going to drag them to the I one, and there we go. Click into my I group, and I've got them all organised, a mixture of different research from book sections to journal articles. So where else would we get information from? Of course, you'd have a book in your hand, couldn't you? A hard copy of a book that you want to source. Well, we can do that as well. I want to come up with select Library of Congress. You come up to it says title, but click the drop down menu and look for something called ISBN. This searches for a serial number for a book. Every book has an ISBN number on the back of the book or front or second page. So with that book in your hand, I then want you to type in the ISBN number in there. No gaps, no hyphens, just a number. There's the number. I'm going to select search. So I only found one, which it should do really, because that's the only one I've got. But if you've got different editions, it might come up with more than one, so you have to check it. Click OK, and there's the book, The History of Heavy Metal, and that's the book I've got in my hand. And if I click on it, it gives me all the reference information for that book. Go through it. Anything missing, depending on your reference style, remember, I think APA uses less than Harvard, so it can vary. So check preview and see how that will look, or add any information that you might need to add. So if I want that, I'm not going to drag that into my medical study options. I want to come up the top. I'm going to select a new group set. Click on the group set. Click group. I'm going to create a new group which is called out music. So that way I can then copy. So if I go back to Library of Congress, I can hold the left button, then drag that into my music folder. Click in it, and there it is. Just bear in mind, if you want to use a specific quote for that, and you might forget, you could always add one into a Word document, type out the quote from that book. Once saved, use the attachment folder and attach it to this source. That way you have the source for the book and the quote you may well need to use within your assignment or essay. And if you can't find specific books, again remember reference, new reference, and then choose book here, and then references a book. Don't get confused with book section, which is a book with multiple authors on different chapters. So that covers books as well. How about if you've downloaded a PDF on your desktop? Now again, with PDFs, they don't all have what's called a DOI number, which stands for. Now again, this is an identification number. Some PDFs are just scanned from a scanner or from a book section, so you haven't got a DOI number, so you'd have to add that manually. So I've downloaded a PDF from Google Scholar, so I'm going to go to Open. So I go to File and Import. Now if you've got loads of PDFs within a folder on a subject, you can select the whole folder and import the whole lot. But I've just got the one. Now make sure you choose the import options, because you might be importing what was doing earlier, which is RIS, which is multiple references online, or you might have an EndNote generated XML. But in this case, I'm doing a PDF portable document format. I'm going to import all. I could discard if it's multiple ones from a folder, duplicates, or import into duplicate library, so that way you can sort them out. But I'm just going to import all. It's only the one file. Select choose, and I'm going to choose IS PDF and select import. Click on it. See the information on the right. All it's given me here is IS PDF, nothing else, and the link for it. Now if I click on here, preview, I'm going to have a quick look if there's a DOI number, and there's not. So this is where you've got to be careful when you're referencing, whether you reference a journal, online journal. It all depends on what your uni or college require. So always read out what they specifically need. So in this case I've got enough information, but it doesn't matter because I can go to reference and then I can add the information in manually. So when I come to cite my work in Word, I can do correct reference style and have all the information I need. So there's some real basics to get you up and running, but one thing I haven't shown you yet, one important thing, is how to cite your work in Word. So I'm going to go into my medical study folder, and I'm going to click on the first option there. And there's my reference information for that journal. So I'm going to close it and select it here. I'm going to scroll down, and I might go where I've highlighted earlier, and I'm going to maximise that window using that option. And I'm going to highlight some information here. Right click and copy or Control C. By the way, if you think you've lost everything, you haven't. Go to Open, Library, and select your library and reopen it, because remember it saves everything and syncs it automatically. Now, I've copied what I want. I'm now going to open a Word document. Open a blank one. And I'm now going to open quote, say it's a direct quote, and close quote. So I need now to cite my work. Now come up the top, you should have a little plugin, EndNote ×8. Select it, and this is what we use to cite your work with. Now before we do anything else, I want you to select this little option here in the corner, because you may need a specific layout. For example, that's the Harvard layout. I can select browse and change my reference style if I want. I can choose my temporary citations, delimiters, or I can choose linking text citations to references. Go to layout. This is where you need to choose what fonts you need to use within your references and citations within your bibliography. So choose it. Again, it depends on what they require. So choose your correct font and font size. You can give the bibliography a title. You might not want it to be called just bibliography or references, so you can give it a title there and change the format and text and size you want there as well. You might need specific indents, so make sure you set them, And line spacing, sometimes they want double. And do you want a space after? Again, you can choose. So make sure you do that before you do anything else, because your bibliography might still be incorrect if you're not doing the correct formatting. Click OK. Now I'm ready to cite my work. Now I've got an option here that says go to EndNote. So that's what I'm going to use. So if I come back up here, we can now use these options here. These options to jump back and forth if you want to Word. So I'm going to select go back to Word Processor. So click on the end and insert citation. So it was AST. So I'm going to see what I find for that. And there it is. Come down the bottom here, journal article, it's got all my source information for it. Now I can insert it straight away and you can see what library I'm using. I can click the little arrow. You might, if you want, suppress stuff like exclude author in your citation, maybe year, or you might want to insert in bibliography only. So again, you need to find out what you need to do. But I'm just going to select insert. So there's my in-text citation using the Harvard reference style and my reference style underneath. I can also, if I want to, if I get rid of all that, I could go to EndNote and choose the one I want here. Come up to these three options here and select insert citation from there as well if I want. So I don't have to use the insert citation in the ribbon. I can edit or manage my citations by bringing it up. Click the drop down menu here and I can remove the citation or insert it again or update from my library. Or if I click edit library reference, it brings it back up and then I can edit it in case there's anything incorrect. And select it to go back to the word process. Now I've got another important option down here. There's a reference, but click on the option here, you've got prefix. So you can have something before the citation, or you might need something suffix after the citation. You also, if it's a direct quote, you might need to add the pages in the citation. Let me give you an example. You might want something after it. So I'm going to put in there just as an example. I just put checked. Now click OK. And you can see what it's done there. So you can add information in your citation. If it's not the standard one, which is authors, et al, comma, year, you might need additional information in your citation. You can add it using that. So I'm going to go back to EndNote. So there's a few basics just to get you up and running. Before I move on, I want to have a quick look at footnoting. You might be doing humanities or maybe law. So what I've done, I've got rid of the medical one and I put a law folder and I've created little groups underneath using the create group option. Now, so I went to more and I'm using use Cambridge to look for law information. I selected choose and now I can type in law and click enter key. And I'm going to search maybe 30, that will do, and click there. So I'm just doing a quick search, obviously I'm not breaking down information. So there we go, I've got a general search. So I'm going to highlight them, Control A, hold the left button and drag them into my law folder to the left here. That way I know they're all safe, so I can click into my law folder. Now if you're referencing, you need to use footnoting, not in-text citations. So come up to the top here and see if we've got a reference style for Scholar, for example, or humanities. I'm going to type a Scholar in there and click find. Nope, it's not going to find me anything in there at all. So what I'm going to do is come back out of there. So you haven't got the reference style in there, but not a problem. Open up your browser and I want you to go to EndNote output styles. Just type that in your search and this will bring up this window. It says here it's got more than 6,000 bibliographic styles, so you should find the one you want. You can break down what you're looking for here specifically if you want, but I'm just going to put in here Scholar and click apply. Scroll down and there we go, Scholar 4th edition. It's a footnoting style, discipline law, and that's the date. So I'm going to download it with the left button. See bottom left hand corner, we've now got an option called Scholar 4th edition. Left click it. Now it brings up this window. Now you can put here what it's based on if you want, but all I want you to do first is click file and select save as. And now we can save that reference style. So I'm just going to call it 4th edition of Scholar and click save. Now close the window, not the top right hand corner, the one underneath, and we go back to where we were. Now we should be able to find our Scholar in here if we select another style, scroll down alphabetically, and there it is. And underneath it give you comments on that as well. So I'm going to click choose, so I've got our Scholar. Now we're ready to start footnoting our work. So open a blank Word document. So let's put a measuring quote in from the book. That will do. Now first thing you need to do, because it's footnote, is come to references. I want you to select insert footnote. So there we go, got a footnote there. One and one at the bottom to actually add the information source. Now go to EndNote in your tab at the top. Make sure you've got your style or Scholar there listed and select insert citation. I should use any one here as an example. Click insert and there we go. And it's right at the bottom. Footnote, there's a problem. It's also put it here where I don't want it. I don't want to keep having to backspace and get rid of that. That's because we have to change the style. Let me show you. So click go to EndNote and I want you to go up to edit, come down to output styles and select open style manager and left click. There's my current Scholar reference style, but it's not correct. So bottom right hand corner with it highlighted, I'm going to select edit. I can change all the editing for that style now on the left here. So if you're doing a bibliography, you'd use your templates option here, but we're using footnote, so I'm going to select templates under footnote. This must be unticked, include citations in bibliography. Otherwise it creates that for you that you want. You only want the footnote at the bottom, so make sure that's unticked. Also when using the short form you can untick that as well. Once you've done that, we now need to save this style differently. File, save as. So I'm not going to call it copy because there'll be two now, I'm just calling it main. And click save. Now close that window, not right at the top because you close EndNote, just the one underneath. Now we've got two versions, look, can you see? But I'm going to be using the second version. Again, close that. And here you can see we have the two versions, so I'm going to choose main. Again, let's open up Word, so I can jump to Word here as well quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that, go to the top and get rid of all that. Make sure the cursor's at the end. Before we do anything else, come up to your styles in Word and make sure you're using the main option, the one we created and edited. Now, insert citation, choose which one you want, insert, there's your footnote, and it's perfect. And that also works with any footnoting, so you have to make sure you change the style so you can exactly have it how you require it. On the basic fundamentals. But as you're going along and you want to know detail, if there's any more information you want, go to help and select the option from here, online user guide, and it will show you each option and what it does step by step. And another quick point, make sure you use this option as a good way to back up all your references, because as I said, you can share them, you can invite other people and share them. I'm going to click yes to proceed, and I can add the emails separated by comments to the people I want to share my referencing with, and even add additional information in there. I'm allowed up to 14 people, so I can leave that online to share, they can access as well. The last option, record a recent transaction in your shared library, telling you the activity feed and what's going on. Last of all, you need to clean up with all your searches and that, don't you? Because if we look here, we've got 286 unfiled options that I'm not using there. I could go Control A and delete everything. You've got to be careful. Now you see my I filter, I've got 440 sources in it. If I right click on it, I can choose to exclude that from being deleted, or right click and include it for being deleted. So what you do is you right click it and select exclude smart groups. So what that means is when I highlight everything now, Control A and click delete, deletes everything, because I also included my I filter which I didn't want. If you right click it and select include, you can choose to keep it. So bear that in mind, because I don't want you to delete everything. I mean, it'll be in your trash anyway, but you don't have to go through all your trash trying to gather the information you've got, so make sure you do that. There's some basics just to get you up and running on EndNote 8. I hope that was a help. Thanks for watching.